Easter Sunday is the newest comedy film to finally land in theaters, and if you're new to this channel, I'd like to ask for you to hit that subscribe button, give the video a like, comment below your thoughts on this film. Have you heard of this film? Are you going to check out this film? And also turn the notification bell so you never miss any video that I post and I upload weekly. And now without further ado, let's get into my thoughts and let you guys know if this movie is worth your time. Directed by J. Chandrasekhar, Easter Sunday is set around a family gathering to celebrate Easter Sunday. The comedy is based on Joe Coy's life experiences and stand-up comedy. The film stars Joe Coy, Lydia Gaston, Brandon Wardell, Eva Noblezada, Carly Pope, Eugene Cordero, and many more. So my anticipation going into Easter Sunday was completely really minimal. The trailer didn't look all that great. It didn't look like it was going to be a funny film. It looks like it was going to be that under the radar film. And honestly, I was really confused at the fact that why this film dropped this week and not during Easter. I don't know if they had some issues and couldn't get it out then. So the movie starts off with this character named Joe Valencia. He is trying to make it big and get into different TV shows, and he's on this audition to test out this TV pilot, and he's really known for being this famous guy on this beer commercial where he's like, "Let's get the party started, baby," and he's really known for that line throughout this. At the same time, he doesn't have the best relationship with his son. He's divorced from his wife, and his wife is married to a famous hockey player, or really not really even a famous one. He's just kind of a guy that is on a hockey team, and he ends up going to another part of California about 5 hours away from his house to go meet up with his mother and go on a Easter Sunday dinner and meet up with all the family. And of course, when he gets there, there is going to be some fighting amongst the family. So they end up attending this church service, and the mom and sister are there, and they don't get along. They fight over petty things like different outfits and recipes and such. And then of course, Joe Coy's character, he ends up getting called up to the front of the church, and he ends up doing this stand-up comedy. It's a little bit awkward at this point, but this film, it's a very busy film. So you have that plot with the sister and mother not really getting along. You have his son and him not really getting along, not really having the best relationship, as he's always really busy doing different things with his job and such. You also have this plot with this cousin named Eugene, where Joe Coy's character actually lended him some money to start up this taco shop business out of this truck. Instead of doing that, he ends up taking the money. He still takes the truck, but he ends up doing this hype truck, and he ends up selling all these different merchandise, high merchandise like Louis Vuitton type items. And it's a little bit awkward there, because then he ends up taking this stuff from this so-called dealer, and he's after him for this money. So a lot of the portion of this movie is trying to get this $40,000 that Eugene owes, and it really takes away from the family aspect. I really didn't have a lot of positives with this film, but the few that I have is, the first one being is, I like that the whole Filipino aspect here is actually getting represented, as they don't have really any representation. So it's great that they get a film really representing their culture here. And I also did like Eva Noblezada's character. I really have liked her since she was in another movie that I saw called Yellow Rose. I think she does a really good job here. She has a little bit of a love connection with Joe Coy's son here. You also get some cameo appearances from Jimmy O Yang and Tiffany Haddish, and I think when they're both on screen, I think that is what really ups the comedy here. There's really not a lot of comedic kind of moments in here where I really was laughing or anything like that, and most of the time I was laughing. It was just mild chuckles. It's a shame that Tiffany Haddish and Jimmy O Yang aren't more so involved in this movie, but when they are particularly placed in this movie, I think they do a really good job, and it really helps the comedy and elevate a little bit the story a little bit. Fortunately, this movie just has too many negatives for me to really recommend this movie. It has a lot of weird editing choices. It definitely feels like a TV sitcom, but it feels like that TV sitcom that's not really popular, no one really knows about it, and it just feels like when this movie is going, it just doesn't feel like it has really much of a family dynamic to it. There really isn't a lot of drama with this family. The only particular drama is the mother and sister fighting, and then of course outside that family with Eugene really having this money that he owes. These whole so-called gangsters in this, they're not really threatening. I never felt like they were really menacing or really gonna hurt anybody. It just feels kind of like a spoof kind of thing. The leader is the only one that talks, and the two other guys that are with him don't even say a word. They're just kind of standing there. I never felt threatened by that. And most of the jokes in here just don't really land for me. I never really laughed mostly throughout this movie. I felt most of the time there really isn't a lot of family dynamic. We don't even really get them sitting down for dinner and really discussing things as a family until 70 minutes into the movie. The movie is an hour and 36 minutes, and we don't really get a lot of touching moments with the family. I feel like a lot of the problems with Joe Coy's character towards his son, I don't really think that we get a lot of solving with them kind of growing as a father-son relationship. I think the most developed relationship here is the son Junior and Talia, played by Eva Noblezada. I think their relationship is probably the best in here. I think that they really do a good job, you know, kind of having that chemistry together, even though that they're not really the centralized plot of this film. But it just feels like a really busy kind of film that really doesn't have a lot to do with family. I didn't feel like I had a lot of Filipino culture here. I'm not sure what everybody else thinks towards the Filipino culture. Obviously, I don't know a lot about it, but I just didn't really see that. I didn't really feel like we had a lot of bonded moments with the family, or there was really a lot of conflict throughout this film, other than really centralizing on Eugene really owing this money to these gangsters. The only really bonded moment that I can really think of in this movie with this family is when they're doing karaoke and they're singing I Got a Feeling by Black Eyed Peas. That's probably the most bonded moment that we get to see throughout this film with this whole family. And the trailer for this film really does bring out a lot of what the film is really going to bring in this. I felt like the trailer gives away a little bit too much. It actually gives away a lot of the ending, which was pretty bad in my opinion, especially for a movie this small. You shouldn't be giving away everything about your film, especially if you're trying to draw on the audience. How this film ends, it really feels kind of cheap how it ends. It just feels like kind of a cop-out to really get that happy ending. And it just feels very much like a sitcom. And this director, he's done a lot of sitcoms, so it really makes sense why this film feels more so like a TV sitcom rather than an actual film. And I can't see this film making a lot of money or really getting a lot of buzz. It doesn't seem like really many people are reviewing it or really have much of an interest in this film, and I really can't recommend this film. I'm gonna give a score of this film a 1.5 out of 5. It just didn't do it for me. I just felt like a lot of the writing wasn't very good. The characters weren't written very good. A lot of one-note characters and characters that really just didn't matter. They're just kind of there and they don't really have much of a personality or really anything to really add to the film. And I just didn't really like this film, and I can't recommend it to you guys. I think that you guys should definitely skip this film. If you really want to see it, go ahead and stream it, but I can honestly say that there's not really a lot of jokes to really laugh at here in this film. But thank you guys for checking out this review, and I'll see you guys on my next one.